American Catholic and Orthodox Christian families that we interviewed, they often discuss the themes of unity and forgiveness in a unique kind of Catholic and Orthodox way. A few select themes and concepts from that chapter include that they talked quite a bit about how faith provides answers to life's questions, that faith teaches us to love others, family members and others beyond the family, that religion promotes marital unity, and that prayer helps us to avoid or resolve conflict. And one of the ways is that faith encourages forgiveness. And in particular, this issue of forgiveness was quite prominent. We'll talk more about that in a second. Of the 8 religious communities that we explore in our book, none of them, with the exception of Orthodox Judaism, featured quite the level of formality, of structure, of level of ritual embodied in the Catholic Mass and in the Orthodox Christian divine mysteries, the Eucharist. And our participants, as well as our insider experts from the Catholic faith, helped us to see the sacred intention behind that structure, the longing for unity with God through the Eucharist, unity with spouse because marriage is sacramental, unity with children because family is holy, marriage and family are a sacred vocation, and also unity with sisters and brothers inside the faith community as well as those outside. And we saw embodied in both the Catholic and the Orthodox Christian faiths explicit acknowledgement that these sacred unities were frequently disrupted by personal shortcomings, by selfishness, and by sin. And so this acknowledgement of human frailty and sort of falling out, that it's natural for human beings to hurt each other in their relationships, even the relationships that are the most dear to them, their family relationships. It's natural for people to hurt each other. And therefore, this idea that all of us are in need of change, of forgiving each other, of granting forgiveness to each other. And the way that it was formalized in the Catholic and the Orthodox communities, where confession to a priest in both the Catholic and the Orthodox communities, and specific ritual weekly confession to each other in the family in the Orthodox community was quite powerful. The fact that the Orthodox community in general actually forbids full participation in receiving the divine mysteries, the bread and the wine, to those who have not confessed and forgiven each other, encourage them to actually make it a weekly ritual to do so. And they had structured ways to do so, and I'll discuss those in just a second. And we find ourselves feeling a particular respect and holy envy for that extensive and explicit religious efforts of members of these faiths to try to replace guilt with hope, to replace bitterness with forgiveness, to replace divisiveness with unity, replace animosity with atonement, by thinking about how to confess to God, mistakes and sins to God, perhaps confess to a priest in the Catholic community, but certainly in the Orthodox community, and to confess and apologize to each other in the family and seek forgiveness. I was deeply impressed with all 3 of the Orthodox families who I was able to interview, that they had incorporated some type of a practice, a weekly practice, to encourage them to forgive each other. One family on their drive, about 30-minute drive from their home to their church, would seek and grant forgiveness to each other. Another family in the morning, Sunday morning, before they hopped in their car to drive to the church service, they would spend a few minutes asking for forgiveness and granting forgiveness for whatever offenses that they might have committed against each other that last week. And another family did it the night before, on Saturday evenings during their family meal. And as I've shared this with a number of students over the years, that sort of simple, regular, patterned approach to asking and granting forgiveness, it just smooths relationships. All long-term relationships involve some type of harm, some type of offenses, some type of people bumping up against each other. And the need for forgiveness, the need for both granting and asking forgiveness is a crucial feature in long-term intimate relationships. And the fact that the Catholic and the Orthodox Christian communities encourage that practice by encouraging people to seek unity with God and unity with each other through confession, through seeking and granting forgiveness is powerful. It's something that I definitely feel a sense of holy envy about.